Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy MumboElite. Welcome back to another video. And today I'm going to show you what I'd recommend investing in for Black Friday, this coming Friday in a few days, for the start of the Thunderstruck promo. If you guys do enjoy this video, find it useful, smack the like button, subscribe if you're new. If you've never been a part of a Black Friday before, historically the way this works is sometimes on Thursdays we start getting some SBCs too, but mainly it's Fridays. EA puts out a bunch of different Flash stuff. They have a bunch of different Flash packs in the store that gives a lot of supply to the market. They have a bunch of Flash SBCs, which is usually our favorite. They'll sometimes have a Black Friday tab for these. Sometimes they'll put them in Challenger upgrades. We don't know what that's going to look like this year, but usually there's one every half an hour to an hour. Sometimes you have to wait a few hours depending on how much content EA wants to bring out. And historically, it causes a ton of cards to rise on the market. As low as bronzes, a lot of silvers, and obviously golds are usually going to rise in value. But depending on the amount of SBCs EA brings out, there's some investments that are better than others, especially with how low the market is this year. So let's go over kind of the different ones I would recommend investing in and how I'd recommend investing it, just so you don't have to sink a bunch of coins into stuff that might not potentially rise, but also to that you can play it safe and make coins regardless of what happens. So first and foremost, let's start with maybe the more obvious ones. If EA goes the direction of making a lot of the SBCs, where they're good packs, whether it's tradable or untradeable, but they make it a high-rated squad, it's going to be useful to get a lot of top nation gold commons and gold rares. A really good way to do this is you can double up with a few different things. So for example, if I wanted to do Spain, I know there's going to be a lot of gold commons for Spain, like most gold commons, that don't even sell for 350 coins very quickly. So if you wanted to start mass bidding 300 on a little bit of everything, you could do that. But if you started going for things like La Liga, so you could do it for the Prem La Liga squad in the Premium Mixed League upgrade as another value and another thing people are buying. If you want to look at La Liga Hypermotion, the second division, Spanish league, that can be used for the mixed league upgrades. Things like that will give it additionally more value. If you get the women's cards, usually they're going to be a separate league as well. So those are 3 leagues alone. If the requirements needing different leagues across the board, minimum of like maybe 5 different leagues, a lot of chemistry, that sort of thing is going to be really useful. You can do this with the gold rares as well. I would just pick them up at discard. I wouldn't go any higher than probably a 600 bid, especially on the lower end stuff. But one of the cool things with that is if, let's say, for example, there's an SBC that comes out that sends gold rares, not necessarily to the moon, but let's say they start going up in price a little bit because there's an SBC that you need 11 rares total. What will happen is if you can use silvers on the squad, the minimum you can buy gold rare for is 600 bid, 550 bid on some cards, and then a 650 buy now, which means if you can use silver rares go from, instead of being a 350 buy now not selling, a lot of these will rise to be even more. So same kind of logic as I would with the gold commons. If you want to pick up a lot of the top nation, Spanish, English, French, all those different cards, if you want to mass bid 300 on those, club stock them in the club, forget about them. You can quick sell, or you can quick sell for very little loss if they don't end up going up at all. But a lot of these will end up selling for 350 plus if you list them enough, where it'd be guaranteed coins and not that big of investment. You can do the same thing with silver commons. This time, instead of doing 350, we look at the buy nows here, and you'll notice a lot of these don't even go for 200 coins. So if you wanted to mass bid 150 on a bunch of these, again, doubling up different things. La Liga cards, Hypermotion for the League SBC. A lot of those 70 plus Hypermotion cards go for 200 plus. That can be an easy way to make coins on the low end if they don't rise in price. But if they do rise, you'll be in a really good spot. You can also look at different leagues, like we said before. If you need a lot of different leagues rather than cards from the same league, you could start picking up random ones where it's like, we have a Spanish card in the Netherlands for the Eredivisie. That could be a good one to pick up. It really depends on what EA brings out, but you want to diversify enough where you get a little bit of everything without going too extreme. Now, you can do the same thing with bronzes. I wouldn't necessarily do it with bronze commons. If you wanted to do bronze rares, you could do this with bronze rares. Again, I would do the 150 bid, and then that way you can always sell them for 200 buy now. You might have to list them in bulk if they're not really going up at all and you're just trying to get rid of them, especially if you start running into duplicates. That's fine. The way I'd recommend getting these cards, though, is not necessarily picking them up on bid. I'll just spam BPM. So if you haven't seen our bronze pack method video, I'm going to link that in the description to kind of show you how we get a bunch of bronzes in bulk, spamming with pill tools. I'd recommend that as a way to pick these up, especially if you're watching this video Wednesday or Thursday before Black Friday even starts. You'll have plenty of time to spam these packs. You're going to get a ton of those first owner. Yeah, it's going to be a lot easier than just sitting there and bidding on those, but either way is going to be good there. Now, another one that can be potentially really good and potentially a little bit longer of a wait is we have Informs. So I'm going to show you what Informs looked like last year, and you can kind of compare that to prices nowadays. So I'm going to use Lauren as an example. Lauren's a card that came out at the end of September last year. She obviously started at relatively cheap price, like most Informs do, close to discard. And there'll be different times throughout the year where she'll rise temporarily. But as we notice, kind of getting into the end of November, the middle of November, I should say, they get up to like 15K coins, which is very similar to what they've been doing recently. And then if we get to close to Black Friday, which is right here, we see that Thursday, they hit kind of their peak. But then once Black Friday starts, they start going down in price. They have a little bit where they may stay up, hold for a little bit, but then going towards kind of that first and second week of December, they start hitting that bottom of being low again in price. So if you think they're going to do the same thing again, what you could do is sell the hype on Wednesday, Thursday before the release of the SBC or the promo, because we're going to have a bunch of SBCs out. We'll probably have a Team of the Week upgrade that you can get Team of the Weeks through for an SBC. You will have the best of Team of the Weeks in packs, so a ton of Team of the Weeks you can pack. All that's going to crash prices like crazy usually. So if you want to sell before and re-pick up a lot of stuff, that's not a bad idea. And then you see here we had a huge spike during Team of the Year when we had the 82 plus times 20, send those crazy to the moon. If you have millions of coins and you have room to invest in a lot of those, that's probably a really safe call, is to either sell in advance and then pick them back up, or just hold until Team of the Year in general. But I'm going to show you the position I'm in, and I feel like a lot of you guys are going to be in a different position, but I have kind of two different camps. So I have a lot of tradable ones that we picked up. We have obviously the more recent ones that are 83 and 84 rated that we've been picking up. But if you notice, we get to the lower ratings, I have almost every single 80, 81, and 82 rated Inform as came out those first kind of few weeks of the game. What this has caused is these cards become extremely rare. We got most of these for close to discard, and these will follow usually the market price of Informs for sure. But you'll notice if the market's like 11.5 right now, a lot of these I could sell for a little bit higher because there's way less of them available. If people use these in an SBC, there's no way to get these sort of ratings back. A lot of the SBCs on the menu for Team of the Weeks are 81 plus rated, 82 plus rated now that's out. The Team of the Weeks that we're getting in packs are guaranteed at least 83 rated. There's not really low-end Informs anymore, so these dry up a lot faster. So these are the ones I'm going to personally hold more towards Team of the Year than anything. If there would be ones that I would sell temporarily to potentially buy back during Black Friday or a little bit after, if I want to try to kind of play the temporary rise beforehand and then get back into these, I would look at the more recent weeks where there's already going to be a ton of supply. These are going to be easier to get rid of and easier to pick back up because those are going to be the ones that keep appearing. Same thing goes for a lot of the 85 plus cards or the best of Team of the Week cards. If you notice, there's cards in your club that you have that are going to be in the best of Team of the Week. If you can sell it before it becomes best of Team of the Week, those are going to be much cheaper in price once those are spammed in packs. So you can kind of, again, benefit from both sides of that, where if you want to sell beforehand or wait till after, there's pros and cons to either one. But for me, again, I might sell off a lot of the higher end ones and then buy them back, but I'm for sure holding a lot of my low end stockpile until they go crazy in price. And crazy for price in me, it's probably like 18K to 20K. We got most of them for 10K, 10.5-ish. So if we can get close to doubling our coins, that would be sick. But also, too, I'm not in a dire need of coins. It's not a big deal to me. What should you do in terms of SBCs now? So we talked about Flash SBCs and different things that could come out. You might run into this issue, and this was a thing a few years ago that was a problem for me. It might become a problem for you. With Flash SBCs, they were out for usually a half an hour to an hour, which means if a card goes up in price, it might only have that value for a limited amount of time, which means you really want to undercut cards. Don't get too comfortable, especially if you have a ton of cards in your club. If I have, let's say, hundreds upon hundreds, if not thousands of bronze rares, and I notice all the Top Nation bronze rares are mainly going for 1,000 plus, I want to get rid of those as quickly as possible. And if I have to start listing stuff for 900, 800, 700, I'm going to take those coins, because the last thing you want to do is overlist something, have a full transfer list for an hour of 100 cards listed and none of them selling. Because then when you go to relist them, they're not going to have the value usually again because the SBC is away. But also, too, that makes it so the other Flash SBCs that come out, something else rises, you now have no transfer list space to list anything, and you're not able to make coins. So that would be something that I would be smart about. Play it safe, definitely. I think in terms of just overall coins we can make from Black Friday, each year it's progressively gotten worse and worse for kind of these lower end methods. Doesn't mean you can't make coins on them, but EA used to be extremely generous. They'd give us a really good tradable or untradeable pack for decent requirements. As of last year, they did a lot more gold related ones, a lot more untradeable packs, or things that just really aren't as tempting. Now, I'm usually gone during Black Friday. I'm going to be gone during Black Friday again. I'm not going to be around to really give you a hour by hour update on how things are going. I have supply myself. I've been doing a bunch of League SBCs where instead of me club stocking on the golds and silvers by bidding, I've just been packing a lot of these first owner, and instead of selling them back to the market, I just have them sitting around the club that I'm going to try to sell during these SBCs. I'm not going to be around to see Flash Evos, so there might be the case where there's some really crazy Flash Evo for a period of time. If any of those cards fit, if you can fit in a really nice bronze or silver, maybe a gold as well, you'll have evolutions. That might be a potential thing for that. We could see objectives that come out would send certain nations up. Same thing applies to like managers. We have Mexico that's needed, I believe, for an objective or something. So Mexico managers went to 2K plus. Uruguayan managers were 3K plus. Now they're back down to like 2K. So you have a bunch of different things that are constantly moving. So when in doubt, pay attention to what SBCs come out, what Evos come out, what content EA comes out with in general, and react off of that. If you need to, you can go to Footbin and sites like FootGG. They can give you SBC solutions that are the cheapest solution at the time that people are using. Usually, if you're quick to on those within the first 5 minutes of it being the cheapest solution, usually that's the one that people will start going towards, start buying out those cards, and then those start rising in price. So that can be like a little bit of a cheat sheet. We have our Discord in the description. If you guys want to post in the Discord when you sell a player for a crazy price to help each other out, feel free to do that. I'm going to be selling stuff on periodically throughout the day, but like I said, I'm gone. I'm not going to be around as much. It's going to be harder for me to really be on here making the same coins as you guys, but hopefully you do enjoy. Like I said, if you did enjoy this video, smack the like button, subscribe if you're new. We'll be back hopefully Sunday to continue grinding and take advantage of this sick promo that's coming. Thunderstruck every single year is a fantastic promo. I can't wait to see what they bring this year. If we get exchanges, man, that'd be cold. I don't mind waiting until Team of the Year, but if we get another menu grind coming, another upgrade grind, that'd be a sick thing to do. But yeah, it's been your boy MumboElite. I'll see you next time. God bless.